Hello, I'm Jeremy, and welcome to Jeremy U's Music Reviews. I listen to music, and you hear my thoughts. As many of you know, I have incredibly controversial music opinions. A lot of songs people love I can't stand, and a lot of songs people can't stand I love. So I'm going to be making 2 videos detailing these controversial songs. And I'm starting with the toughest, the top 10 songs I hate that everyone else loves. Now keep in mind, this is my opinion. If you like these songs, great. I'm glad you can see something in these songs that I can't, and feel free to keep on enjoying them. But this is my place to vent about songs I hate that most others don't. These are my top 10 songs I hate that everyone else loves.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
Considering how I'm an extremely devoted AJR fan, you'd probably assume that I'm also a fan of Jon Bellion. Well, while I don't love Jon as much as I do AJR, I do like the guy. Bellion has some really good songs under his belt, like Guillotine, 80s films, and He Is the Same. Why am I bringing him up in this video if I like him? Because there's one song I really don't like from JB. And unfortunately, that song is his biggest hit for some reason. I honestly don't get why so many people like All Time Low. I will admit that it is different from a lot of songs that hit the mainstream, but just because a song is different, that doesn't mean it's good, and wow is All Time Low the opposite of good. The production is obnoxious and cluttered. Jon sounds terrible. The Dekubop Domde thing at the beginning is annoying, and these lyrics are unbearably cringy. These lines feel like an alien wrote them. And don't even get me started on that ear-grating, obnoxious chorus. At the end of the day, I like Jon Bellion. He's likable, interesting, and does have legitimate talent. I just wish that his biggest hit reflected that talent.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
Frozen is an incredibly overrated, mediocre movie. But like Suicide Squad, it had a really good soundtrack. Do You Want to Build a Snowman is very heartfelt and sweet. First Time in Forever is very triumphant and fun. And Love is an Open Door serves as both a good love song and a good villain song, even if the twist was incredibly stupid and forced. There's only 2 bad songs on the soundtrack. The first is the rock troll song Fixer Upper, the one song everyone can agree is bad. But unfortunately, that doesn't apply to the second bad song.
Let it go, when I rise like the break of dawn. Let it go.
Unlike most people, I hated Let It Go the moment I heard it, and Overplay has only made it worse. Everything about Let It Go is the definition of mediocre and dull. The production is insufferably dull. Menzel's singing voice is nondescript as hell, and these lyrics are so boring and dull. I can see someone liking these lyrics and being empowered by them, but I just see them as boring and cringy. Also, that chorus is ear-bleeding. Every time I hear Idina blare out, "Let it go! Let it go!" my rage buttons get pressed. And before anyone says, "Oh, it's a kid's song, stop being so harsh on it," yes, Let It Go is a kid's song. But here's the thing. It's a Disney kid's song. Sure, once in a while Disney makes a dud like A Guy Like You or Say It With a Slap, but that's not what most people think of when they think of Disney songs. The Disney songs most people think of are masterpieces like Tale as Old as Time, Gaston, Under the Sea, Friend Like Me, I Want to Be Like You, Prince Ali, Be Prepared, Circle of Life, Part of Your World, absolute masterpieces that are just as iconic as the movies they came from, if not more. And then I see this train wreck of music get praised just as much as those songs, and I scratch my head as to why. And what's funny is that Elsa's song in Frozen 2, Into the Unknown, is actually pretty good. Nothing amazing, but it has a decent melody, good vocals, lyrics that are actually well written, and a spectacular cover by Brendan Urie. So yeah, I hate Let It Go. It's overrated, dull, and rage-inducing. But honestly, it is still a kid's song, and it is harmless in the grand scheme of things, which is why it's so low on this list. Well, I mean, or high, whatever. Like the movie itself, Let It Go is a song that wasn't made for me in the slightest, so maybe I'm just missing something that other people see in it. But even though I respect the people that like this song, I consider Let It Go to be a giant pile of yellow snow.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
While I don't love Thank You Next as much as most other music critics do, I do agree that it's a good song. The beat is fun and enjoyable, Ariana sounds good, the lyrics are fine, and it's a good song that shows Ari's growth. But unfortunately, like a lot of good movies, Thank You Next has an awful sequel.
You ain't my boyfriend, I ain't your girlfriend, but you don't want to say nobody else, and I don't want you to say nobody.
If it wasn't for Seven Rings, Boyfriend would be the worst song I've ever heard from Ariana Grande. Yes, I think this song is worse than Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored. Say what you will about that song, but at least it has a coherent melody. Everything about Boyfriend is haphazard in all the wrong ways. From that sound at the beginning, which sounds like a computer having a stroke, to the production, which has no flow whatsoever. On top of that, Ari sounds really bad. It sounds like she's trying to replicate her Thank You Next voice, but it just doesn't have the same charm or quality. And as for Social House, wow, are they a non-presence. Their guest verses are insanely forgettable. If it wasn't for intentions, I would call this the most forgettable and dull guest verse of all time. And then there's the lyrics. These are some of the most generic, forgettable lyrics of all time. Similar to Someone You Loved, they're incredibly boring and meant to apply to any situation. I'm not saying that songs like that can't exist, it's the only good thing about Conan Gray's Heather, but to me, it feels like it's done out of laziness in Boyfriend. Both artists have made much better songs, so there's no reason to check out this dull piece of incompetence unless you really want to. But let me tell you, you're not missing much if you don't.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
Have I mentioned how much I can't stand misandry in songs? Especially when it's disguised as feminism.
I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch, even when I'm crying crazy.
While I generally like Lizzo, Truth Hurts is a song that I just really don't like. Similar to Boyfriend, the production is way too scattered and obnoxious. The piano line, while not god-awful, is really dull and boring. The trap skitters are annoying and not catchy, and Lizzo sounds terrible. She sounded great on Good as Hell and Juice, but here her voice ranges from whiny to annoying. But what makes Truth Hurts worse than Boyfriend are the lyrics. While the lyrics for Boyfriend were just bland and forgettable, the lyrics to Truth Hurts are awful. Unlike Good as Hell, which tells you that you're awesome and you can do anything, Truth Hurts is about how Lizzo is the boss and all men are terrible people. These lyrics range from corny and unfunny to actively rage-inducing. The Minnesota Vikings line is just stupid and has nothing to do with the song. The opening line is trying to be funny, but I don't really know what the joke is. And then there's the chorus.
Why men great till they gotta be great?
I'm not naive. I know that there are men that are jerks, terrible people, and sexual abusers. But not all men are like that. The Bigger Picture was a song that dealt with the persecution of minorities, but Lil Baby specifically said that not all cops are monsters who abuse their power to take down minorities. Lizzo, on the other hand, straight up says that all men are boastful morons who don't show strength when they need to. You know, despite the fact that these people exist. If you're empowered by this song the same way I'm empowered by songs like Sunday Best and Good as Hell, great. I'm glad this song gives you strength and speaks to you in a way that it sadly doesn't for me. But I'm sticking with Juice and Good as Hell for my Lizzo fix.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need you.
While I haven't heard a lot from Travis Scott, I do like the guy. While he does have subpar songs on occasion, like Highest in the Room, he also has a lot of really good songs. Franchise is cool, The Plan is great, he had good guest verses on Skywalker and Antisocial, and don't even get me started on how awesome Sicko Mode is. But this song, I really don't like it.
We see the hype outside, right from the house. Took it straight from outside, straight to the couch.
The last few songs were stuff that I didn't like, but I saw the appeal of for the most part. This is the part where we get to the songs that I absolutely cannot stand and see little to no appeal in them. And we're starting off with the Scots. I legitimately do not see the appeal in this song. Let's start with the worst part. Those freaking beeps! I cannot stand those beeps. They permeate through most of the song and make the Whores in This House sample from WAP and the echoing voices in My Oh My seem pleasant in comparison. As for the rest of the song, it's not that much better. Travis is phoning it in, Kid Cudi sounds awful, and the beat is murky and ugly. It feels like the rap version of We Can't Stop. I know that there are certain music critics that love this song, and that's great, but The Scots is honestly not my kind of rap song.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need you.
When I first heard Billie Eilish, I thought she was a weird goth girl that I would never get into. Then 2020 happened, and she made absolutely amazing songs. Everything I Wanted, My Future, Therefore I Am. These songs worked because Billie manages to be creepy enough to be interesting, but not enough to be too unnerving. Something this song doesn't do.
What do you want from me? Why don't you run from me? What are you wondering? What do you know?
Every second of Bury a Friend makes me uncomfortable. From the eerie production, to Billie's demonic vocals, to the horrifying music video. And yes, I know that's the point. It's supposed to be creepy. That's not my problem. My problem is that it's creepy in the wrong way. Let's compare Bury a Friend to a song that does this kind of thing much better, Slow Dancing in the Dark by Joji. Like Bury a Friend, Slow Dancing is incredibly creepy, but it's creepy in a way that doesn't affect the audience. It feels like I'm watching a man lose his mind and give in to his demons. It's creepy, but in a way that affects the subject of the song, not the people listening. Bury a Friend, on the other hand, makes me feel I'm a victim in a horror movie. And I get it if that's your kind of thing, but I don't like the feeling of being a horror movie victim. When I listen to a creepy song, I want to be treated to an interesting psychological experience with a beautiful melody, not a demon girl who wants to attack my soul. Billie has greatly improved as an artist and has been the kind of creepy that I like to see in music. And I hope she continues that path and doesn't do this again.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
One thing everyone can agree on is that 2020 was an amazing year for music. There were many factors. Amazing new artists, TikTok, quarantine, all this and more brought about songs that were experimental, fun, and enjoyable as hell. And most of the critical darlings are songs even someone with opinions as controversial as mine can agree are great. Blinding Lights, Savage, Dynamite, Mood, Adore You, Watermelon Sugar. Most music critics love these songs, and so do I. But like other years, there were a lot of songs I disagreed with them on. And no song did I disagree with a popular consensus on more than this one.
Said certified free, 7 days a week. Wet ass pussy, make that pull out game weak.
I know that a lot of music critics like this song and think that it's funny, empowering, and quotable, but I'm sorry, WAP is none of those things to me. And it's not because I don't think sex is funny. On the contrary, I believe that sex can be used for comedic purposes. It can be used in juxtaposition with something that isn't intentionally sexual, providing a humorous contrast, like this. It can be used to be absurd, like Lonely Island's Bin Laden song, or you can just make a song full of ridiculous and clever sex metaphors, like Bloodhound Gang's The Bad Touch. But WAP doesn't do any of those things. It just espouts obnoxious sex words that are somehow supposed to be funny. Call me a prude, but I just don't see the humor of lines like, put this P word right in your face, swipe your nose like a credit card, or gobble me, swallow me, drip down the side of me, quick jump out before you let it get inside of me. Ugh. And for those saying it's funny because it's absurd, no. WAP is not absurd. Unlike something like Freddy Got Fingered, which not only gets more and more crazy as the film goes on, but is also absurd in how it goes about showing its disturbing stuff, like having gore disembowel a deer carcass while I'd like to buy the world a Coke plays in the background. WAP just espouts generic sex terms throughout the song and expects you to find them funny. It also doesn't help that the beat is sludgy, the sample is annoying, and Cardi sounds awful. As for the parodies, unlike the original, the parodies of WAP, the ones that I've heard, were actually funny. My personal favorites are Bohemian Wapsody, Brock Baker's spoken reading of WAP, the Ben Shapiro remix, the Ben Shapiro Genius one, and WAP as an emotional song in a musical. These parodies and many others take an otherwise unfunny and obnoxious song and infuse it with actual humor. But that still doesn't change the fact that the original WAP still sucks. I'm glad that people like Mike Ramp 72, Finn from the Social Tune, and Todd in the Shadows are able to genuinely enjoy WAP, and I respect their opinion. But I just don't get the appeal of this song, and I probably never will.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya.
Well, you all knew this was going to be on here.
Hello from the other side.
Unlike most music critics, I really don't like Adele. I will admit that not everything she's made is terrible. Someone Like You and Skyfall are actually pretty good. But aside from exceptions like those, most of Adele's discography ranges from boring to insufferably boring. And Hello is easily the worst song she's ever made. It's everything that makes most Adele songs insufferable, boiled down to one insufferable pile of noise. The production is obnoxious and overbearing. Adele sounds like garbage. And oh my god, do I hate that chorus! The way she just obnoxiously belts out every verse makes me want to punch something. And yes, I will admit that these lyrics aren't really that bad. But I don't care because the production and vocals make these lyrics insufferable by sheer association. This song is a chore to listen to in every sense of the word, and the only reason I didn't put it on my worst songs of 2015 list was because I ran out of space. If you like Hello, fine. But I absolutely hate this obnoxious piece of dreck, and I never want to hear it again for the rest of my life. Next.
I love it when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need you.
As much as I hate Hello, I will admit that it at least feels genuine. It's obnoxious and trite, but it feels like Adele was trying to connect with the listener as opposed to manipulating them into feeling manufactured feelings. This song, on the other hand, I know there are a lot of people that like this song, but I'm sorry. Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper is one of the most vacuous, schmaltzy pieces of fluff I've ever heard. Every aspect of this song feels like it's manufactured to get me to feel. And before you say, oh, that's the point, yes, but the way Shallow does it is all wrong. In order for me to get emotional over a song, it needs to do something to earn that emotion. A great example of this is Dear Winter by AJR. Dear Winter doesn't go out of its way to make you feel. It just puts Jack on a boat, strumming a guitar, and singing about a little girl named Winter. The song stands on its own and lets you feel the emotions. Meanwhile, Shallow tries to fill in the emotion for you, leading to an empty, hollow shell of a song. From the guitar strings at the beginning, to the hokey lyrics, to the boring and dull production, to the overall crushing emptiness of the appropriately named Shallow. As for the vocals, Bradley Cooper is on the bad side of meh, and don't even get me started on Gaga. I despise Gaga's voice in this song. You know how music critics hate how screechy, waily, and whiny Lewis Capaldi's voice was in Someone You Loved? Well, that's how I feel about Gaga's voice in this song. But at least with Someone You Loved, that's Capaldi's actual voice, which shows even in his good songs, whereas Gaga has shown that she can sing not like that. Case in point, yeah, a mere 2 years after Lady Gaga made this song, she gave us the amazing and beautiful Rain on Me. So I have no idea how she turned in such an awful performance. Now granted, I haven't seen the movie Shallow is from, the 2018 version of A Star Is Born. Maybe the song works better in the context of the movie. But I'm not judging this in relation to the movie it's from. I'm judging Shallow as a song on its own. And as a song on its own, it sucks, both musically and emotionally. If this song makes a genuine emotional impact for you, the same way something like Dear Winter or Goodbyes does for me, that is absolutely fantastic. But for me, Shallow is as vacuous, empty, and soulless as its name suggests, and the second worst thing Bradley Cooper was a part of, behind The Hangover Part 2. And before we get to number 1, it's time for the dishonorable mentions.
Oh, I feel so sorry. I feel so sad. I tried to help you.
While I absolutely hate You Should Be Sad, I understand the appeal, and unlike Truth Hurts, Halsey is at least calling out an abusive jerk as opposed to saying all men are boastful cowards. A lot of people really love this song, but I honestly don't get why. Nothing about X's and O's really works for me. It's just one big pile of meh.
Welcome to the new age, to the new age, welcome to the new age, to the new age.
Like I said in my worst songs of 2013 list, Radioactive is a bitter, ugly mess that just doesn't work for me. But it did help Imagine Dragons get into the mainstream and make much better songs, so it did more good than bad.
I got no rules, I count them.
The production is awful. Dua sounds incredibly condescending, and the music video is way too in your face. But I respect the lyrics, premise, and intentions of New Rules enough to leave it off of this list. Also, Bill Maher's New Rules are awesome. While I do really like Sia, I honestly don't get why so many people love Chandelier. Similar to Nonstop by Drake, it feels like a song that never starts. Except while Nonstop is kinda catchy, Chandelier is just meh. But it's still better than Titanium.
I've been fucking hoes and popping pillies, man, I feel just like a rock star.
Awful beat, boring vocals from Posty, a loathsome music video, and an admittedly good guest verse from 21 Savage.
So you're a tough guy, like you really rough guy. Just can't get enough guy, just always so puff guy.
While I still really don't like this song, I do respect how avant-garde and bizarre it is. But it's still not really my thing.
Take me to church, showers like a dog in the shrine of your life.
Good message, bad execution.
We could have had it all.
The production is alright, kinda reminiscent of Come With Me Now by Congos, but Adele absolutely sucks. She's not as insufferable as she was in Hello, but my god is she boring. I will never understand why music critics love this woman.
Lately, I've been thinking, I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier.
Boring song with a mediocre drop and a manipulative as hell music video. At least Shallow didn't use a dying creature to get you to feel emotions.
Out the coupe at the lot, told him fuck 12, fuck SWAT, busting all the bells out the box. I just hit a lick with the box.
Why on earth do so many people love this song? The production is fine and the music video is cool, but Roddy sounds stiff and the lyrics are insanely forgettable. Ballin' and High Fashion are a million times better. And now, number one.
Ooh, I should be running. Ooh, you keep me coming for ya.
I am really glad The Weeknd took my advice and kept making retro songs because, wow, he just kept getting better and better. Heartless, Save Your Tears, In Your Eyes, Faith, and of course the titan known as Blinding Lights, made After Hours easily one of, if not the, best albums of 2020, and cemented The Weeknd as a music god. So then why is this his biggest hit?
I only call you when it's half, but the only time that I be by your side,
I legitimately have no idea how anyone could like The Hills. There is not one thing about it that is tolerable, much less good. Let's start with the production. This production is absolutely awful. Grating synths, ugly trap skitters, and an awful screeching sound. And before anyone says, Jeremy, that's the point. The Hills is a dark and ugly song, so it's supposed to sound like that. I get it. I'm not expecting something nice and fluffy. But you still need to sound good even if you're a dark song. What do I mean by this? Well, allow me to compare The Hills to a dark song that's actually really good, Goodbyes by Post Malone and Young Thug. Like The Hills, Goodbyes is a song that's incredibly dark. But unlike The Hills, Goodbyes sounds beautiful. From the entrancing and lovely production, to the funky and catchy trap skitters that actually enhance the song, to Post Malone's beautiful voice, to Young Thug's alright guest verse, Goodbyes is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. And all while being an incredibly dark song. Meanwhile, The Hills is a song where every aspect of it sounds incredibly painful and awful. Speaking of which, let's get to the vocals. Why? Why on God's green earth are you slathering Abel's beautiful voice in ugly auto-tune? The Weeknd can sound good. Hell, he proved that on the same album this piece of dreck is on with the absolutely incredible Can't Feel My Face. So I have no idea why this ugly piece of awfulness turned out so bad. But the real reason The Hills is number one on this list is because it personally insults me. Keep in mind, I respect the people that like this song, but every time I hear The Hills, I just feel angry. Not just because it sounds bad, but because it disguises its bad qualities under the guise of being dark and heavy. This is the same thing stuff like Caillou, Peppa Pig, Seltzerberg, Happy Madison, although Hubie Halloween was pretty good, and the Emoji Movie do. Being objectively awful with their only defense being, hey, it's a kids show / kids movie / comedy. We don't have to try because it's a kids show / kids movie / comedy. And to see this song be objectively awful and coast by saying, hey, it's a dark song. We don't have to try because it's a dark song, makes me angry. There are a ton of amazing dark songs. From dark songs with a funky and happy beat, like Super Lonely and Zero, to somber pieces of darkness that are amazingly brilliant, like Slow Dancing in the Dark and Leaving My Love Behind. And The Hills is pissing all over those songs by defending its awfulness by saying how dark it is. That's probably not what this song was intending on doing, but that's what it feels like to me. If you like this song, fantastic. Keep enjoying it. But I hate The Hills and all that it represents. I'm glad that The Weeknd moved away from this dreck, and I hope he keeps striving for greatness. I believe in you, Abel. And that's my list. Well, what did you think? Do you agree with me and think that these songs are overrated and terrible? Or do you think I'm wrong and they're actually masterpieces? Let me know in the comments below and tell me what your top 10 songs you hate that everyone else likes are. And join me next video when we'll be discussing the top 10 songs I like that everyone else hates. See you then!